Dale, papi.
Does Drew Brees deserve 100% of the blame for the Saints' loss last night?
94%, 95%, 100%. What difference does it make? He made a bad throw at the end, but look at what happens here. This is a guy who's used to throwing into these kinds of windows all the time, and that linebacker for Atlanta is a total freak, and they would have had the field goal. They would have had a tie game that would have been pretty easy, and that was a really bad pass at the end. It was weird to see it, too, because guys like Drew Brees don't often do that. That was an awful quarterback play last night.
Right. It was his first red zone interception of the season. If you need to assign 100% of blame to one person for a game involving many people and many coaches, by all means, knock yourself out. I'm of the opinion that an entire team contributes, both good and bad, and then at the end you have a result. But like I said, if you really need to, go ahead and throw some shame on Brees.
Wait a minute. If we're going 100%, why can't I throw it on this video of Sean Payton coming out onto the field here and getting a penalty flag? That officially ended the game. If his team had gotten a stop, they would have had 20 seconds left, and this guy who's demanding discipline of everyone else loses the game at the end by losing what? His discipline.
Right. If we're going blame, we go Brees. If we're going shame,
yes,
we go Payton.
Well, can we have 100% blame over here and 100% shame over here? Woo!
And that's not all. He gave the choke sign.
Oh, that's right. Oh, what about this? And then worse than that, Sarah, after the game when they asked him about him, what did he say?
I don't recall that.
I don't recall that. What kind of excuse lie is that?
Do you think Drew Brees will get Thursday Night Football address?
It feels like every Friday of this football season we have been asking a version of this question, which is some player complaining about how many injuries they were the night before because of the immorality of Thursday Night Football, playing games 3 days after you did something incredibly violent. Drew Brees isn't going to get this addressed. This is going to get addressed because you had so many injuries last night that these guys, whether it's true or not, doesn't even matter. These guys think that Thursdays are unhealthy and they've got the right to collectively bargain that. They will the next time this comes around.
Drew Brees. No one's going to listen to him as opposed to all the other people who have said this before. The only time that they will listen is when it comes to the CBA. And if big-name players decide that they're willing to sit out and miss games and miss paychecks in order to affect the major TV rights and the major money that comes from Thursday Night Football, then maybe the NFL will consider it. But just talking about how they don't like the injuries, talking about how they need more rest, isn't going to get anything done.
I bet he wouldn't have had a problem with that Thursday Night Football if he wouldn't have thrown that interception.
Oh, that's a good point by my father. If that interception falls incomplete and the next one's a touchdown pass, does Drew Brees have the problem with Thursday Night Football? Matt Ryan is out here with 3 interceptions telling you, man, those Saints really got injured. Thursday Night Football, unsafe.
My arm was so tired.
Do you expect Jahlil Okafor to live up to expectations in Brooklyn?
I thought coming out of college that Jahlil Okafor should have been the #1 overall pick based on what he did at Duke. And then I watched a game last year in which Jahlil Okafor was playing for the 76ers. And he was in there for a very short period of time, and he got scored on 10 of 11 baskets just going straight in the post right after him. And I thought to myself when I was watching that, this is the worst player in the NBA at present. And it feels like everyone in the league has said that recently, which is why he was available to anybody who would have offered.
If you're asking whether we think he can live up to the #3 pick and the expectations we had for him out of college, no, I don't think so. The expectations now, which are a guy who's been sitting the bench and adding absolutely nothing, then yeah, I think find him a new place and see what he's got. He has handled this incredibly well, and they did good move here by getting rid of him before it became a locker room cancer or a guy who was so frustrated with his lot in life that he started to take it out on those around him. Let's see what he's got. Not going to be the #3 guy we thought, but I think he can add something in the NBA.
I do think it's instructive, though, that this physical presence was available by trade for a long time to anybody who wanted him, and just now somebody rose up, and it's Brooklyn, not a very good team with not very good prospects. The entire league has made its decision on this guy.
Even if he plays well in Brooklyn, I don't think that anyone is going to notice it.
It's true. Seriously, if someone scored 60 for the Nets last night, would you have heard about it? Do you think SportsCenter would have even covered it? Would we have been able to name whoever the player was? Was it Bogdanovich? Who was it playing and scoring 60 for the Nets last night?
Is it Whiffer right to only approve the Yankees, Cubs, Dodgers, and Astros?
All right, he calls Giancarlo Stanton the Whiffer. She's got a big smile on her face because she's a Cubs fan. He's got a no-trade clause. What does that mean? It means no trade. He's got the biggest contract in the history of sports. He strong-armed the organization at a time that it was weak, and they caved and gave him a no-trade clause. You don't see a lot of those in baseball just given away. And now he has all these contractual rights. He can play wherever he wants to. It doesn't much matter how much pressure the organization is putting on him.
If you are the fans or the organization and a guy has a no-trade clause, you do not get to enjoy the part of the contract where he plays for your team and plays incredibly well, and then just conveniently forget about the part of the contract that allows him to decide where he wants to go when you want to get rid of him. I'm sorry, you gave him the deal, so he absolutely has the right to decide where he wants to go. That's probably the only reason you got him, was because you offered the no-trade clause in addition to bunches and bunches and bunches of money.
The Marlins have deals in place with the Giants and the Cardinals, and this is funny that you've got some of their rivals, the Astros. He's saying, no, not only am I not going to you, I'm going to your rivals. I'm going to your Cubs if they want them, if they want all of my many home runs. But one of the things that's happening here is the Marlins are now taking away his friends. D. Gordon just got shipped out to Seattle and told, you're going to play in center field. And they're like waving, they're saying, look, Yelich and Ozuna, we're going to send them to Kansas City and Cleveland next. They're threatening his friends. He's next.
Can you imagine him with the Yankees? He and Josh will strike out about 500 times a year,
Yeah, 500 times a game,
Yeah. It'd be fun to watch, though.
Yeah, it really would be.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
Is there any one thing that you'd like a do-over on, a little bit of a do-over, that you just go back, you're very loyal, but you just go back and change something a little bit?
Well, two things. The only two times I've been in trouble in my life, I definitely would have went in the stands and to help Ron, but I wouldn't have threw a punch. I wish I could take that back. That's $3 million that I need, that I could use. $3 million for one punch, at least let me knock his teeth out or knock him out.
My Son's TV show is brought to you by Xfinity. Experience. Joining us at the beach today is Steven Jackson.
One of my favorites. He talks about all the stuff. Honestly, let's talk to him a little bit. Steven, you've come on this show, wildly entertaining. We've talked about all the stuff in your past. I'm wondering, even though you don't do a lot of regret, is there any one thing that you'd like a do-over on, a little bit of a do-over, that you just go back, you're very loyal, but you just go back and change something a little bit?
Well, two things. The only two times I've been in trouble in my life, I definitely would have went in the stands and to help Ron, but I wouldn't have threw a punch. I wish I could take that back. That's $3 million that I need, that I could use. $3 million for one punch, at least let me knock his teeth out or knock him out, or let me get 4 or 5 punches where I can make him remember that butt whipping, for $3 million. But I also regret, the strip club incident. I don't regret being there for my teammate, but I regret pulling the gun out and being, all Port Arthur, Texas, which is where I'm from. That person came out. So I definitely regret that because it overshadowed all the great basketball I played. It overshadowed me. It stopped me from being an all-star. It overshadowed all the great basketball I played. So that's the only two things I regret.
Well, and that Tim Duncan calls you the ultimate teammate. There is a lot of good stuff on that resume. I'm wondering, though, when we talk about what it is that we're talking about, when's another time that all the Port Arthur has come out of you? When does someone need to be careful because here comes Port Arthur?
Anytime you disrespect anybody with me or anybody I love, I think the last time I had a Port Arthur incident was with Steve Francis when I had the concert and I was paid to perform. And I don't know what he was going through at the time, but he jumped up on the back of my show and started rapping and acting like he didn't know the words, and he was kind of inebriated and ended up falling on me and all this type of stuff where I had to turn around and choke him out for a second. And it was all on the internet. Now I apologize to him because I didn't know what state he was in, but he was in the wrong state at that time. And I had the whole city of Port Arthur with me at that point, and I just felt once his crouch, his belt buckle hit the back of my neck, all bets off. Now it's time for somebody to get their ass whipped.
Can you tell us honest feelings about Chandler Parsons? What do I have to do? I've been told by sources that if I ask you about Chandler Parsons, I'm going to get something that's good.
You know what? People want to make it more than what it is with me and Chandler. It's not personal. When I get asked about things, Dan, as you know, I give my honest feelings. And when a guy makes $100 million in the NBA and averages 9 points, as hard as I worked for the money I got, and he doesn't appreciate the game, then I say something because the game has done a lot for me. And I'm not just speaking from my opinion. I'm speaking for everyone who loves the game of basketball, for every fan that spends their hard-earned dollar to buy their kids tickets, for every fan that's been lifetime ticket season holders. All those guys that love the game, I'm speaking for them because when you make that much money, you should appreciate the game and play harder. And I don't think he's one of those guys. He's not the only one, but he's a great example for making $100 million and just not giving a care.
Are there a lot that you would name by name? Because I don't feel like a lot of analysts do that. Like, there are a lot of guys that you would point to and say their name on. That guy doesn't care enough.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of guys, and I don't mind saying it. One thing about, like I say, respect it or check it. If you don't like what I say, I'm always around. I'm everywhere. If you see me, if you feel brave enough to say something to me about how you feel about it, I'll respect it. You know, I'll respect it because, you know, opinions are like everybody has one.
Are there any guys in the league that you don't feel confident calling out? You mentioned bravery. Anyone that you stay away from?
No, because I'm not scared of anything. The only thing I was scared of God and weddings for the longest. You know, because I've been divorced, and God and weddings are the only things I'm scared of. But I have a girlfriend now, so I'm not scared of weddings anymore. But I'm not scared of nothing that breathes the same air as me. Nothing. Not at all.
And that's always been the case. Like, if I put anyone in front of you where Steven Jackson's going to notice, oh, this person is also not scared. Oakley, anybody we've come across, who's the name that you think of?
Well, nobody. Like,
okay, fair enough.
I mean, definitely, like, guys like Oakley, like, I have so much in common with him that we can argue, curse each other out, and 10 minutes later, I have so much respect for him that we'll go to the bar and drink together. Like, guys like that, I relate to. I don't relate to guys that never been through anything, never been through any hardships or ups and downs. I don't relate to guys that that grew up with a silver spoon. I can't relate to them. So the trouble guys, the guys that people run from, I'm identical to them. They're my twin brothers.
What's the relationship like that you would point to? Give us a name of the guy you're most likely to have those blow-ups with, but you're also such brothers that you will go right to the bar afterward. That's normal part of the relationship.
Baron Davis and Al Harrington. I get into it with. I used to get into it with BD almost after every game because he's one guy that wanted the best out of me. You know, when I got thrown out of games, BD wasn't the guy to sugarcoat it. He'll come to me, Jack, you tripping, you being an idiot. We need you in the game. We'll go back and forth, but he's right. When we leave the game, we're in the same car. Baron Davis and Al Harrington are two of my best friends, and we can argue like brothers, but it doesn't go farther than that.
Poppy, what do you have for Steven Jackson? Go ahead, Poppy.
Yeah, Steven, when you played in Santo Domingo and in Venezuela, what was your favorite food that you ate there?
Oh,
your favorite
man,
food?
Of course. You know, I'm a chicken guy. I can't lie. Arroz con pollo. You know, that's my habichuela. You know, that's my favorite dishes. But I'm going to tell you what I fell in love with in Venezuela. Presidente beer.
Oh,
Presidente. It's the best beer I ever had, and I had it with tomato juice. So you know what I do now when I'm on planes? I miss my Dos Equis and all my other beers with tomato juice. I fell in love with it. It's called the red beer.
All right, there you go. All right, a terrible question begets a good answer. Thank you, Steven. We appreciate it.
Anytime.
Gracias, Steven. Gracias.
Have a good one.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she had to buy lots.
Highly questionable is broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that doesn't want Sarah to ever leave me. Do you question?
You give us topics and events and we question them.
You have an oldest son, Poppy. You can love him too.
Do you question if this is body shaming?
Shaming is the word we were looking there for. If it was two M's, it would have been shamming. This is shaming. Let's see, who do we get to body shame here in intramural soccer in another country?
And here's Sam Parker. Oh, it's Darryl the Barrel. Go on, Darryl the Barrel, Sam. Darryl the Barrel.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it's Darryl the Barrel. Kicks it in. Oh, what a goal! It's Darryl the Barrel. It's one of the best goals I've ever seen down here at the Lamb. Oh, roll out the barrel. Oh, superb. Gives it to Cleary. Cleary into Cleo. But no, oh, it's the Barrel again.
Wait, I mean, he's wide open.
Surely
Where's
not.
the
Why is
defense?
anyone covering Daryl
Oh, it's a hat-trick. It's a hat-trick for Darryl the Barrel. What a goal.
High fives from the other team. Is this like when Putin
it's
plays
unbelievable
hockey?
stuff.
Are they just all waiting around and letting him score?
That's my entire childhood without the goals, just laughter and announcements of my plays that look, and I'm doing rolls and stuff to celebrate my incompetence just to distract people. And then I made a career in television as a clown.
I think that we have video of you playing soccer.
All right,
Oh,
here we
boy.
go. Here we go. What is this? Thank you, Dad.
Oh, Guinness
All right.
sleeveless shirt. Good choice.
Yeah. Okay, of course. Yeah. All right, there we go. There we go. You know, I mean, really, you know, while we're at it, why don't we show some of our childhood videos? Why don't you show that video when I was a kid in goal and he hit me in the face as a young Gonzalo turned around and whipped a soccer ball and hit me right in the face? Why don't you show people that childhood video so they can understand how this became what it was?
Do you question if this ref is doing too much?
I love this question. I love, where is this going to take us? We have checked in with wrestling referees who are overeager, referees practicing in stadiums that are empty. What is this? Yeah!
What?
I mean, that was totally not efficient, useful, or practical in any way.
That's not even a full cartwheel. Land on your feet, man.
I mean, oh my God, I would love to see a dance-off between that guy and the previous fat guy scoring goals in the previous video.
I have seen a ref doing a little bit more.
Let's see.
Oh,
Where's a ref who's done more?
Yes.
No, we've done this before.
God, I love this guy.
I love him too, but
Here
I
he
feel like
comes.
we only played that other one because it gave us
Yes.
a chance to play this one.
But this was efficient.
Yes.
It was useful.
Yes.
It was funny. The other guy, what's he even
but
doing?
I'll tell you what happened. The other fat guy said to himself, I can't do that well or that quickly. I'm going to have a new move that gets me on this dumb TV show.
Time to play the game that doesn't think that soup can be an entree. See? Or no?
You tell us what to watch on television tonight. We'll tell you if we're intrigued or not.
Saturday on ESPN, the Heisman Trophy ceremony.
Oh, yes. There are 2 Heisman voters at this table. Yes, there are. See by their enthusiasm if you can guess who they are. Anyway, let's check in with Baker Mayfield. He's a favorite for the Heisman Trophy. Here's him scrambling all over the place.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's not fair.
This looked like it hurts. Watch this.
Oh,
Right.
there it is.
Maybe the kidney. It's probably enlarged at this point of the night.
Yeah.
Right in that
Nice.
totally saturated kidney. I think his pants fell off at the end, too.
Underwear,
That's
there
a
were
good detail I
underwear.
missed
They should
before.
play that on a loop at the Downtown Athletic Club. See how that goes over. Sarah, are you intrigued?
Listen, if he wins the Heisman, it is going to be for his rushing ability, not displayed there. I'm all in.
Somebody needs to sign those cops, by the way, because people usually don't tackle him that well.
Full
Papa, are
tackle.
you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. You know, I got a couple of writings. You know, I hope that one of them makes it to the top. You know what I mean?
My father has a
I
couple
can't
of
disclose my
writings?
vote yet, you know, but once this thing is over, I'll give you the names.
Great.
You know what I'm telling you?
Okay, my
Yeah,
father-
dark horse. Got a couple of dark horses here.
Okay, nobody cares.
Do you really have a vote?
Yes, he does.
Of course I do.
Yes, he does.
That explains why all those players are boycotting the ceremony because they disagree with the
Okay,
way the
envy
Heisman
and
people-
resentment from the one at the table who doesn't have a vote.
Poppy?
Why did I sing that?
What? How did Poppy get a vote?
Because I'm a guru in college football. That's
He's
why.
a guru in college
I
football.
mean, that's
there you
it.
go.
I do my work all year round. I follow the competitors, you know.
How
and
dare you question
I
his
analyze
bona
his
fides.
stats, you know, and I do what
The
it takes.
stats
you
or
know.
the tats?
That's right.
No, it sounded like he said I
Best
analyzed
tattoos
the
in
fats,
football.
the fats, which is what we were doing earlier in the show where we were talking about that goalkeeper and that wrestling guy.
On Fox on Sunday, Seahawks and Jaguars.
Ooh, this one's going to be violent. Am I still allowed to root for that? No, I'm not allowed to root for that because this one's going to be good. Jalen Ramsey's really fun for the Jags. He's a cornerback. He's mouthy. He was asked if it was a statement game. What did he say?
Can it be a statement game for you guys? Because of who they are?
What's their record?
8-4, same as yours. Former Super Bowl champs, perennial playoff contender.
All right, we were sorry last year, but we're not this year. We ain't talking about last year. Y'all gotta stop, man. Y'all gotta stop doing that, man. The media, y'all do that too much. Y'all be hyping people up. Y'all hype teams up. Stop doing that, man. Y'all gotta stop doing that. It's a new year. It's a new week. Everything. It's new big dogs in around the NFL. Y'all gotta stop doing that. Stop hyping people up.
I really like him. Sarah, are you intrigued?
I'm always in for, yeah, we were sorry last year, but we're not anymore.
They're not.
Now we're a big dog.
Because now I'm here.
Yeah.
Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Are you kidding me? Russell against Blake? That's a match made in paradise. I'm telling you, 2 big scramblers, you know, going around the pocket, you know, throwing on the run, you know, 2 high-scorer quarterbacks. I'm telling you, I'm all in, you know. I'm all in on that game. Nobody was counting on Jacksonville to be any place. Look
That's
where
true.
they are today. All the big bucks analysts, you know, they missed the boat with Jacksonville this year.
Name them. Name them, Poppy. Name,
That's right.
Name
Who?
the analysts. Who are the analysts who missed the boat?
Everybody in
Name 'em.
ESPN.
Give them names. Who? Names.
I don't know. I was making the whole thing up.
Okay, yeah, that seems fairly obvious when you didn't come up with a single name. Look disoriented.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
Very grateful for Sarah. Enjoyed our time with her this week. We'll talk to you on Monday.
If you want a Heisman vote, I can sell you mine.
Oh.